Today's best music.
Magic 89.9.
It is October 8th, Thursday of 209 here at Magic 89.9. My name is Boom. I enter the chat room today on a Thursday. Our show moves in every now and then, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It doesn't matter, but we will have one for the week. And for those who are listening on radio, good afternoon to you guys. Those who are taking us on the road through Magic 89.9. Magandang hapon. And for those who are watching through Facebook Live, through Twitch, and through the Kumu app, hello. And this week is a special week. And if you've been seeing our social media posts, today will be an episode about the late, great Francis Magalona. And we are so happy and lucky that the sister said yes to our invitation. Up first, we have somebody I haven't seen in a long time. Saab Magalona is with us today. Hello, Saab.
Hey, Boom. Hi, everyone who are listening. Hi.
Listening, watching.
Yeah.
Saab Magalona-Bacarro, of course.
Yes.
Just to be complete about it. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for saying yes to this. Let me give you a little backgrounder about this whole thing. So I think it was around May. So I'm obviously trying to schedule guests ahead of time, obviously considering schedules and all of that, right? It was around May that I knew I wanted to do an episode for your dad. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, I couldn't do it in May because I Googled and checked, what's his birthday? That's like, October pa, tagal pa. Like, okay. So I had to table that idea first to have this episode. And then finally it came around, right? So October, the lesson there being is, ang bilis talaga nitong mga pangyayari, this whole pandemic.
I know. You'd think you'd be. I don't know. Some days it's so slow, and then others it's like, what? It's October.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So finally we got there, which in my opinion was faster than I expected when we got to October. So first of all, of course, happy birthday to your pops, to your papa,
yes.
to your dad, and
Pop.
your
We call
mom
him
also
Pop.
celebrated over the day, right? Yeah.
Mom and Pop. So they were born
celebrated
2 days apart. October 4 is my dad. October 6 is my mom. Happy birthday to both of them.
Celebrating this week. So that's why we wanted to do this episode this week. Now, and before we talk about your dad real quick, I want to, just say hi to you first. How have you been? How's life, married life in the pandemic, and of course being a mom to two beautiful boys. Can't get enough of them. How's life for you as a podcaster too, and all of that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really, I can't say I'm bored at all because having two kids, it keeps you very, very busy. There are small pockets that I find during the day that I really try to be mine. Like I told you, Boom, I schedule all of my meetings, all of my stuff around their nap time, their second nap of the day, which is around 1 or 2. They're asleep right now, and that's why I feel like I can focus. Mm-hmm. But yeah, aside from having the boys, Jim and I, my husband, we have a podcast. It's called Wake Up with Jim and Sab. It's one of
successful and very popular podcast.
You. Yes. And I think we're doing fine.
That's an understatement.
We started that actually because we wanted to make sure that we had time for each other, even if we're parents now. It's so easy kasi to just, be mom and pop.
Be swept away by the responsibilities.
Yes. So we wanted to hit two birds with one stone, catch up and talk about mundane stuff. And then, at least we're creating content.
While you're at it.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of just talking about it amongst yourselves or between the two of you.
We do that too.
Yeah, of course, I'm sure. And I hope, right?
Yeah. The stuff we can't put out there.
Right. Yeah. So you decide to, what do you think has contributed to its success and the popularity?
I think number one is the fact that we just did it without any ulterior motive. It was really just, hey, let's do this. And we didn't overthink it. Sometimes it's all over the place, but I guess that's part of the charm. I know some of our
beauty of podcasts.
yeah, I know some of our pod kids. We call them pod kids
Right.
because they call us pod mom and pod dad. They're listening right now. They're watching. Hi,
Hello.
pod kids.
Thanks for allowing your mom to guest,
Yeah, I
guest
know.
on this show.
Dami ko ng anak. Ano ba yun? It's like I'm following in my parents' footsteps. They had 8 kids.
8 kids, that's right. So you will be representing them today. Was there any hesitation from Jim or maybe even from you
What do you mean? Like
with the podcast?
Oh, well,
Or go kagad?
with me. It was with me because
Oh, okay.
I was a blogger for
Yes, you were.
I don't know if I still can call myself a blogger. I haven't updated my blog in like 2 years. And I was just a little hesitant on being candid because I just
Right.
feel like there's a lot of parang you just get judged so much, and I was just afraid
Especially
to
these days, correct?
Yes. So I was just a little hesitant. But then I like the whole podcast situation because people will have to really sit through 40 minutes of you talking. It's not just a 140 character tweet that they can totally take out of context. You'll have to sit through it and really listen to it before you can get a sound bite, So
Right.
it
To be
kind
used
of,
against you.
Yes. So it's like I feel like parang quality listeners ang meron.
Well,
No offense to radio.
no. Let me say this. No, not at all. Quality listeners come from quality content. Quality
Oh,
hosts.
Thank
That's
you.
just how it is. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you said you kind of threw it back to your blog back in the day because
Uh-huh.
I think I remember reading one of yours a long time ago,
What?
and it was about. You'd be surprised by the stuff that I read and do. And it was randomly, I think you were talking about the pressures of people asking about whether pregnant or
Oh, it was
This
our
is your
pregnancy
newly married.
announcement.
was it that was it that time?
Yeah.
I think that's what I remember. Na parang
Yeah.
that culture of kailan na
Yeah.
or that I
Yeah.
think that was one of the stuff that I remember reading. And I tell you this, and I know it probably surprises you to say that or to hear that from me. But I am a huge fan. And you can ask Candy, who, of course, we talking about radio and all that. You're a good friend, or
My best
bandmate,
friend.
your co-host, your best friend, your soulmate, whatever, right? When I met her just a few years ago.
Mhm.
And that's one of those radio get-togethers of sister stations, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she was hosting. I think I probably was there for the free drinks. and we were introduced to each other, and I said, "Oh my God, I'm a big fan." And she looked at me like I was crazy, because I was such a big fan of your tandem on radio. And I said that. Come on, Saab. I said that to you. I tweeted that to you on your first
Really?
week, I think.
Oh,
You probably
wow.
don't remember. There are things that I'm like an elephant when it comes to these things, really. I remember all of these things.
Wow.
So I loved your tandem. First of all, I'm a fan of the station, our sister station, Jam 88.3. I love the station. I love the music. And I loved your tandem for your show. And I said that to her, and she looked at me like I was crazy. Like, parang siguro feeling niya, mabola ako or whatever, right? It was really true. I loved your tandem. I thought it was great. I mean, I would love to hear that in a podcast,
Wow.
both of you. So, and your history with me kind of was tied when you were very young. Do you remember calling my old hip hop radio show back in RX?
I probably did because I was really
did.
into radio. Now that I
You
think about
were.
it, do you know that I interned at Magic when I was in high school?
Yes, I know.
I
Yeah,
was with Big D.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you and your brothers on a Sunday were listening to radio, and I had a hip hop R&B radio show on RX, you guys would call for requests, and I'll put you guys on the air. Your
Oh,
sister,
wow,
your
yeah.
brothers, and you're like
Yeah.
passing the phone. I want to hear 50 Cent or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like screaming all over the
50
place. So,
Cent.
you're right. And so that's why when I heard you on radio for the first time, I mean, as a DJ, I tweeted you, and I said, "Oh, it's full circle. Now I'm the one. I should request a song." So,
Aw.
and that's not the reason why I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan because you guys were so good together. So
Oh, thanks.
I miss
Thanks,
that
Boom.
tandem. Yeah,
Wow,
please.
that was my a short radio
It
DJ
was, but
stint.
but it was a great one. And plus, you were still doing gigs at that time,
Yes.
which I
Uh-huh.
think is one of the last times I saw you in Sagiho. And I
Yeah.
think we did an HBO Go thing together with your mom, diba?
Oh
And your
yeah, yeah,
sister.
yeah.
So those were the
But I
last ones.
do.
It's been
But
a
a
while.
lot of my memories with you, Boom, it was watching my dad play basketball
Right.
at
Yes.
Moro in
Right.
Ateneo. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other memories were us drinking at 3, 4 in the morning. And he gave me one of the best pieces of advice that I still carry now. And I'll talk about that later. I want to hear from you about that.
Okay.
When you remember your dad, what's like one of the, he has a lot of nuggets of wisdom, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What do you remember in terms of like pieces of advice and words of wisdom from Kiko, from Pop, from
Oh gosh.
them?
I feel like when he's with us, kasi with the kids, he was really more of. My mom would call it anything for a laugh. He would be our clown.
It's true.
He would do
That
it.
is true.
He would just do these silly voices. He had this character called the scientist, so he would like be in a mode where he would explain stuff, and it was all made up, like something about why the sky is blue, and it's just all incorrect information. And that was really fun.
I bet.
As far as nuggets of wisdom, I
Did
don't
you
know.
remember? Yeah.
I would have to say my mom gave me more of those.
The laughs came
Maybe-
from
maybe,
your pop.
yeah.
The wisdom came from your mom.
If I asked my dad, like, "Hey, Pop, can you give me advice?" He'd be like, "Ask your mom." That's the best advice he gave me.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's smart. He was a smart man. He was an incredibly smart man. How do you celebrate your dad, regardless of whether it was, the anniversary of his death, his birthday, or whatever, whether in a small way or in a big way? How do you still celebrate it?
Well, before the pandemic, we really used to get together on his birthday and on his death anniversary. We'd visit his grave and we'd hold a mass to celebrate him. And of course, we weren't able to do that this year. But, I feel like it's more of a ceremonial thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like he's just, but they say you die 2 times. It's physically and when people stop talking about you or saying
Right,
your name.
correct, right.
And I feel like he's just always living, especially through me, his children. I feel like he's just, I don't know. I feel like he lives. He's gonna live forever.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. The best to ever do it. And we're not talking about, just music or entertainment. His obviously his, as I said in my Instagram post, his imprints are all over the place until this very moment because he was just really ahead of his time in
I
doing
agree.
so many things.
Uh-huh.
In doing so many things, right? With the benefit of hindsight now for you, this was 11 years ago, correct? When
Yes.
your pop
Yes.
passed away. How do you feel about it now, as opposed to when you were 11 years younger?
Oh, it was really tough when he first passed. Definitely, it took, I don't know, sometimes I still, how, I don't know if you know, but like, it's funny.
Say it, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, when I'm out and about, because people can see his face in me, so
course,
they know that, oh, anak ni Francis. So just they would play his music, like if I'm at a restaurant, if I'm at a store, just to like
really?
kind of give a little nod. But then actually, it would inside. I'm like, I don't want to because I'm gonna start crying.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's like it was really hard, especially. But of course I had to think about like they're coming from a good place. They want to say like, hey, we know your father, and we're shy to say hi, but here's his song just to let you know. Yeah. So
right.
it's very sweet. It's very sweet. But then deep inside, I would get a little triggered because hearing his voice, it's a very emotional thing for me. to this day, I think sometimes I'm only getting to the point when I had kids because I would play his songs to them.
It was just
It
about
was
past that.
it was only then that I was parang more comfortable na kasi parang it really triggered sadness in me. But then now it's more of like, hey, this is your lolo and it's cool and they love his music.
Already?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it bothered you when which is interesting because I hesitated reaching out to you guys because also, I mean, I didn't know whether it would be something that you guys would like to do or talk about, but I wanted to ask anyway.
Yeah, and
I
I'm glad
mean,
you did, Boom.
I'm so happy that you said yes.
Yeah.
I really am, and that you look at it differently. But I also wanted to see and really find out if there was a different effect. How long did it take for you think to like truly accept his physical loss? Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
Well, if we're gonna talk about grief, I feel like it never really goes away. There are it just kind of the intensity kind of trickles down. I read a tweet some time ago and it really resonated with me. I don't know if I can explain this well. There was a drawing of a box, and in that box there's a button, a small button. And then when the loss first happens, imagine there's also a ball inside that box. So there's a ball and there's a button in that box. When the loss first happens, the ball is really big and it keeps hitting that button. That triggers your emotions and your sadness and your grief.
Right.
As time goes by, that ball kind of gets smaller. So it goes around the box. It doesn't hit the switch as much, the button. But then there are times that it hits it. So that's, for me, that's really like, that was exactly how grief is for me. That's exactly how grief is for me. Like the intensity when that button is hit is really still there, of course, always. I feel like that's really how it's going to be for the rest of my life. But it's just not pushed as often.
Right. I think you explained it perfectly.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a perfect way of explaining it. There are some people, and I'm not talking about whether, maybe I guess especially in the entertainment business, that they want to distance themselves from that conversation.
Yeah.
Respectfully so. They don't, like you said, they get triggered and all that. Have you gotten to a point that you're okay talking about it?
Well, I'm here.
Baka kasi I used a kind of like a friend of your dad card. Eh.
No. I really, especially since we weren't able to hear mass
this year.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, hey, thanks, Boom. I'm really so thankful and grateful for people like you who continue to talk about him and to honor him. And that's why I felt like enough about me and my feelings. I feel like it's just, I really want to keep his legacy going.
Celebrate him. That's what we're doing. We're celebrating Francis and we're talking to Saab Magalona-Bacarro right here on the chat room. My name is Boom. If some stranger comes up to you, or let's say not even a stranger, like a young person who's getting into the business, regardless of whether it's music or hosting or whatever, and he or she hears about the name Francis M and all that, and he says, who is he? What did he do? What was his impact on the industry? What would you say?
I'd say Google it. Just kidding. No.
That's going to take a while because there's a long list when it comes to him.
Yeah.
Tamad eh, no?
I would say, everything that you're hearing locally was impacted by him being here first. I think so. Everything.
No, I agree. Agree 100%.
I think so. Yeah.
100% I agree.
I don't like just calling him a rapper.
Right,
I think he was
exactly.
he was so much more.
And this is the reason why in my tweet and in my Instagram post, I never use the word. I just don't use the word. No, never did.
Wow.
Never did. No. You see, my explanation always has been, like, for example, I'd hear something, even many, many years ago that's here, I'd hear something from the US, like new sound or whatever. sometimes I always catch myself saying, ginawa na ni Francis yan.
Wow.
Ganun yung impression ko, and I used to
Aw.
hear, I don't know, whatever, whether it was back in the day when it was like the Lincolns or the Kid Rocks and all of that. Ginawa na ni
Yeah.
Kiko yan eh.
Yeah.
I always thought he was ahead of his time, but there are people, Sab, that are ahead of their time, but are not understood.
Yeah. That's
Right?
exactly
Especially
him.
in music.
Yeah.
But maybe that is true. But Francis, I think, was ahead of his time, but yet people embraced it as their sound still. If you're talking about music, the hosting style, they embraced it. That's what I really completely adore about your father, is that he pulled it off.
Yeah.
And as I said in my post, he pulled it off looking good. And some people spread themselves too thin and maybe sacrifice a little bit of this part of them in this job, this part of it in that job. But to me, he was never like that. He did things very well, incredibly well, in my opinion. Sab, what do you think? What say you?
I know, and that's the curse of being his child.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
What do you do?
There's just a lot to live up to. But then it's
Right.
like no one's really putting that pressure on us, right? I mean, I hope so.
I hope not.
And parang for me, I just take it as my dad just always liked trying new things. Like he would get into if he gets into pizza, he'll get into it like, oh my gosh, I'm really gonna make the best pizza ever,
All
and I'll focus
in.
on this. Yes. Or then he became a photographer, and he really
Yes.
joined the Camera Club of the Philippines. He had
He
to
did,
win
right.
awards, and
Yeah.
he really did things, and he put so much into it, and he really
Right.
enjoyed every time.
He
And
did.
he would make great friends from all of these things, and I think somehow, even if I would say I don't put as parang hindi ako nago 100% as much as he did, but I do like trying different things, and I've made a lot of awesome friends from these things, and yeah.
Oh, you don't have anything. Oh, Sab, I don't know, but you have nothing to. I don't know. You're not apologizing, but I mean, you're to explain yourself for that. You try. Whether it was cheats, whether it was radio, whether it's podcasting, whether it's being a mom now.
Yeah.
I mean, the incredible story of your firstborn,
Yeah,
of course. I mean, come on, cut
Yeah.
yourself some slack. You've
That's-
done an
that's true.
incredible job, and which
Thank you.
brings me to the point that what would he be most proud of, you think, when he looks at you personally now, with everything that I mentioned and a lot of things that I'm sure I haven't mentioned yet when it comes to you?
What would he be proud of? Of course, I mean, the easy answer would be how I'm raising my children so
Right.
far. I mean,
Right.
they're only 1 and 2, but so far I feel like he would be really proud because I'm really doing my best and doing the research that it takes to give my siguro ito yung I give my 100% to. And also I
Of
think
being
he
a
would be
parent, right?
yes, I think he would be really proud of how I chose my partner in life. Yes,
That's a
because
good one.
Jim, he would be, because my dad, we call him, in our family, we call him mayabang. But of course, may mapagyayabang naman siya.
Right,
But
right.
I think
as a term of endearment.
Yes,
That's what
yes.
you're saying. Right, okay.
And I
okay.
think
Bakit?
he'll be so mayabang because I chose my spouse to be a lot like him.
Really?
They have so much in common. It's a shame that they weren't able to meet each other. But oh
Right.
my gosh, if they did, oh my goodness, they would get along so much. And
I was
also,
going to ask.
yes. And of course, I think he would also be so proud of how I've taken care of my mom. I really, the number one thing, especially when he passed, the number one thing in my head was I will just, everything that I do, I will make my mom proud and happy. And everything I do, I have to ask, is this going to make mom happy? And that's what I do. And it's
Wow.
been like, it's been my, what do you call it? My North Star? That's what it's
Right,
called?
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And,
yeah.
and I think it's brought
Like a
me
moonshot.
Yes, it's brought me
Right.
to where I am today, which is really, really happy because my mom's happy. And that's really one of the things that or pretty much it's what matters most to me right now.
What's something that we still don't know about your pop that you can talk about, of course. I'm not talking. Wag naman tayo mga controversial. No, not that.
Off air na lang yung.
Go ahead, yeah. I mean, because I say that because he was super exposed. He did, shows. He did, diba, hosting variety shows, hosted talent shows. You know, and he did all of the music stuff, merchandising, directing, even, diba, and
yes,
photography, as you said. He was so good at everything. But what is it that we didn't know, we didn't see? That you thought was, that you can talk about.
Okay.
Tawa mo eh.
I was gonna say, okay, well, I don't want to embarrass him, but you know what? Maybe I will a little bit. Okay, fine. He was an intense nail biter.
Was he really?
Yeah.
While doing nothing, or just
doing
watching
nothing,
sports or whatever.
watching something, anything. He's biting the skin. Of his, which is exactly what my husband does.
Oh, really?
Now that I think about it.
Wow. He's living through gym. Oh my.
Ay, nako. Yeah.
That should.
That's a fun fact. He's an
It
intense
is.
nail biter.
It's super fun. Okay, let me tell you. Before I let you go, let me tell you one of the best moments I had with your father. I think it was around 05, maybe. I'm not sure. 06, maybe. Or 07, somewhere around there. And so he knew, obviously, I think it was an after event of some Nike event that we used to do a lot of those things, right? And it was already done. It was 3 a.m., 4 a.m., something like that. We were outside of all places in Metro Walk. Remember Metro Walk, right? When people used to go, So we were there, we were having a beer. It was already like go time, uwi na, whatever. And he knew that to a certain degree, because we were both DJs, like on radio, as for people who didn't know, he was a DJ too, and he used to mix on air, which is what I used to do also, and still do every now and then. And then I did sports, and I was doing this, I was doing that, I was doing this. So I wanted to get his advice because he was like that. He was a jack of all trades, right?
Yeah.
And so I asked him, sabi ko, this was in 4 a.m, probably already, I don't know, gone. We were both gone already. And I said something like, how do you avoid being a jack of all trades and master of none? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't it look bad, that you're trying to do so many things? And I ask you because you make it look good. And his advice was perfect. He says, who gives a flying, what? So him, right? And he says, never be concerned about how it would look. Just do what you want to do. And try to do it well, and you're probably going to fail in some of them. But hey, if you want to do it, as long as for the right reasons, you'll do it. And it resonated with me, not just because it came from him and he, parang it's an authority, but it's almost exactly the same advice that my father gave before he passed away.
Aww.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
Wow, and I feel like he's telling me this through you.
Really?
Yeah, that's
well,
nice.
There you go. Maybe that's the reason why.
Told you
I'm sorry, Sam.
Why are you triggering me, Boom?
I'm sorry. I was so scared of doing this episode because you might hate me.
No. Thank you so much, Boom. Thank you. And I'm glad that you followed his advice and you're just doing. Sakto, I think it was a Nike event, that you came from. She said,
yes.
Just do it.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
So his impact on my life just from that session, that conversation, is tremendous. And I wanted to celebrate. I mean, I have no right to celebrate with you, but I wanted you to, you know what I mean?
No, you do.
Tribute.
Everyone does. Everyone
Tribute.
does.
You're right.
Yeah.
Saab, anything else you want to say before I let you go?
I want to say thank you for just always remembering him, Boom, and keeping his memory alive. Thank you for having me. And I would love to have you on our podcast.
Sure.
Yay.
You say the word.
I put you on the spot. We're live right now. You can't say
care. Just say the word. As long as it's not within the show here.
Okay.
But Saab, I would love to. Come on.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Boom.
Love to the family. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I miss you on radio, and I mean that too. You and Candy, send my love to her. And I'll talk to you soon for whatever reason. All right, Saab?
Okay, thanks, Boom.
Bye.
Bye.
Saab Magalona-Bacarro with us. exiting the chat room right now. We'll take a break. Why don't we play a song? We'll play a song. I don't want to trigger Saab, but we'll play a song just as she exits. And then we'll bring in, of course, we're talking to her sister, Maxene Magalona-Mananquil, right after we play this one with Elmo. Why not? Yeah, this is Magic 89.9, everybody. You're right, smack in the middle of the chat room still. My name is Boom. For those who are listening on radio, thank you for tuning in. For those working at home, those on the road, and for those watching on Facebook Live, on the Kumu app, and on Twitch, we welcome our second guest, Maxene Magalona-Mananquil is with us. Hello, Max!
Yay! Hi! Hi, Boom! Hello, everyone watching and listening. Hello, Magic 89.9.
So good to see you. And look at your color.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't even
beautiful.
realize until thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's nature, it's sun, it's God, it's everything. And it's been very wonderful, yes.
Exactly. You look good. You look like you're feeling good. And that's a good thing. First of all, happy birthday to your father, who
Thank
celebrated.
you. Yes.
I love that when I got in touch with you, and we haven't talked in a while also, we see each other every now and then. We were in the same music festival in Japan, and we didn't even see each other last
Oh my
year.
goodness, yeah, you're
Remember?
right. The best
Right?
music festival ever.
We were in okay, just the background for
Yeah.
people who are listening. I'm sorry if we're going to bore you a little bit, but we found out eventually that we were in the same music festival, Fuji Rocks, in Japan, Naiba, Japan. And it was 3 days. 3 days ba tayo noon? Three days in the festival, right? And we didn't even bump into each other. Although it's pretty tough to bump into each other with
You're
a
right.
ton of people.
So
But,
many people, yeah.
and with the weather too, which is part of the experience.
Yes.
But yes, we haven't seen each other in a while. We haven't. But tell me first, how I want to understand how, if you were kind of trapped in Bali and then you just stayed, and but take us through that before we get to your wonderful father and your memories about, of course, your pop. Tell us what happened to you.
Yeah, we went here in March for a yoga teacher training, and COVID, I think at that time wasn't as big yet, and we honestly didn't think that it would turn into something like this, how it is today. I think none of us, yeah, exactly. So we were here, and then our schedule for the training was March 1 to 24, and during the middle of March, then that's when the lockdown started happening. And then we had the option to fly home, or if not, we were gonna get stranded here. And we figured, because coming here to the teacher training, one of my intentions, one of my goals was to actually heal myself, my mental condition. And one of the things that I struggle with is fear and anxiety. And my intention was to not give in to fear, to just trust the process and to surrender. And that, I think, was the perfect challenge for me, was to give into the fear and go home, or just stay here and finish my training. And I felt like I owed it to myself to really stick it out, and really just trust the process and surrender it to God. And so we decided to stay. And we didn't know that flights were gonna get canceled. We thought we were still gonna get a flight out after the training, but then it just kept happening.
It worsened, the situation worsened.
And then so we just exactly. And so we figured, if there was a time for me to actually challenge myself and like really test if all these teachings that I've been studying will be put to good use, then might as well now is the time. So I was like, and then I decided to just stay. And I was like, I was fearful. I'll be honest. I was anxious. I was like, what happens if I get sick? What happens if I run out of funds? So I was like, no, I'm gonna stick to this and really invest my time, my energy, my money into this healing process. And so far, so good. It's been turning out really well. And we've been extending our visa. So even if my flights nagkaroon na ng flights, my husband and I decided to stay and really give our all into this healing journey of ours. So we're treating it like our healing honeymoon, because we got married 2 years ago. 3 years na kaming married, and we haven't really had a honeymoon. And we figured maybe this is the time to really, because this time is very sacred for all of us to really go inward, to look within, and to really focus on what we need to. Because I will admit, I have become such a toxic person. There was a time in my life I was into like a very dark time in my life, and I'm not gonna deny that it was very scary and very hard for me. But then I think this is the perfect time for all of us to really just look within and see what else do I need to fix? What else do I need to look at? What else do I need to take out? The weeds inside of me that I can take out, that I can really heal, that I can remove finally. And this is I think the perfect time, because we're all just at home and we're invited by God to just look within. So yeah.
What a wonderful curveball in a way,
Yes,
right?
yes,
That what
yes,
happened to you.
exactly.
The reason why I asked whether you got trapped, because I did too. Me and my wife were also traveling at the time,
Oh,
and I was in
yeah,
right. I was in Thailand, and I
yes.
went to Sugi Islands in Indonesia, and then when everything was locking down, we had to make a decision. We had to cut that Indonesia trip by a day, just so we can get back to Singapore, because they closed their borders, obviously, right?
Yes.
So and once they close, it's pretty hard to get back into. So I settled into Singapore for a while, but I had to make a decision to come back to Manila because of my own family, my mom and all that. But that's my
Yes.
story. But that's why I kind of figured whether that's the same thing that happened to you. And now, so just quickly, what's the plan, if there is any, for you? Is there a short-term plan? Is there a long-term plan? Are you staying? Because the cases also got bad in Indonesia, correct?
Yes, in Jakarta,
Right.
especially
Jakarta,
here in
no? Yes.
here in Bali, I think it's not as high as Jakarta. And
Okay.
yes, and it's very safe here. It's like people are still washing hands, people are wearing masks. Very respectful of, we're just tourists visiting Bali. It's mostly tourists here on this island, and everyone's been respectful and like following protocols, following rules. But for now, that's the thing. During the middle of March, and then also all the way up to March, April, May, June, I was in that bubble of like, oh,
What are you gonna do?
I'm so scared. What if this happens? What if that happens? What am I gonna do? But then I just slowly began surrendering, and I was like, you know what? There's no point in making plans, because things change every day. That's
That's a
what this COVID is
perfect
teaching
point.
us. That
Perfect point,
nothing
Matt.
is certain. So it's like I was struggling with. I'm such a plan. I'm such like I want to control everything around me, but I'm like, hey, this is the universe telling me that maybe it's time for you to take a chill pill, relax, like let everything unfold. But of course, there's still that responsibility part. Like, okay, you have to think of all these things, but at the same time, it's a mix of like planning, organizing, but also surrendering.
Balance.
It
It's
can't be
balance,
extreme.
right?
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
really
Yes,
balanced.
yes, yes. So
Um,
right now, there's no plans. I'm like, I just want to take it. I keep praying every day. Now I'm
right.
focusing on my practice, my meditation and my yoga, because these are the natural tools that I've chosen to heal my trauma and my mental health. So I've been focusing on that, and praying to God to just keep sending us messages or signals or signs about
Right.
what next path or what next step to take. So that's where I am right now.
It's good to hear it. I mean,
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy to hear all of this from you, and these discoveries.
Thank you.
Two things before we move on to your father. Two things. Bali is a special place to me and my wife, because that's where we got engaged.
Oh,
So it's
oh
good.
my
And
goodness.
yeah, it is. Was yeah.
Beautiful
And
energy here. Beautiful energy.
exactly. And the second is, what I wanted to say is yoga also did so, because I do yoga also, and especially
Yay.
during the pandemic,
Yes.
really made such a difference in just like centering everything, and just kind of relaxing, and taking away some of the anxiety. You still feel it, of course. I'm with you. You will feel it. You can't take it away altogether,
Yes.
but dealing
Yes.
with it
You can't
got
run away
better.
from it.
Yeah, dealing with it got
Exactly.
better. So yeah, okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Maxene Magalona-Mananquil is with us. For those listening on the radio, we're celebrating the life and legacy of Kiko, Francis Cam, the best to ever do it.
Yay.
When I got in touch with you, I loved that you wanted to do this. I loved
Yes.
your energy, the way you sounded, like, because I was worried, that, will they be comfortable? Would they be, is it, whatever. But I love that about you wanting to celebrate. Why is it? I wanted to know why were you excited to talk about Francis M, or just celebrate his life this week?
Because knowing my dad, he would love this. He
Really?
loves us talking about him. He loves this. No, I mean he enjoys like knowing that he did something good for the country. You know what I mean? He was really
Yes.
proud of that. And you can tell that in his songs. And I'm sure even after his passing, he probably didn't know that it was gonna be this big. Like he didn't know that it was
For sure.
like people were gonna praise him this much or like look up to him this much. He just did his best and he did it from the heart. And I know, look, as he looks down on us right now, he's proud knowing that he gave his authentic self. He wasn't perfect. He had a lot of ups and downs in his life, but I know that he chose to become that public figure of like, I make mistakes, but here I'm still here. I'm not gonna give up. I'm still gonna fight, and that's what he did until his last breath. And I feel that you know, just talking about him to pay tribute to his beautiful soul. And people know him as the master rapper, but I also just want to keep talking about him as a dad, his personal life that people didn't really know about. He was just this funny, cool guy who just loves to make jokes, and that's who he really was. And I'm sure you know that about him. And
Oh, yeah, definitely.
yeah, exactly. So he's just this. He's just a wonderful human being that I love to remember. And I think, just talking about him raises our vibration, and it makes us like remember, hey, how he lived his life. Maybe we can live like how he did. Like even if things kept life kept throwing like curveballs at him, challenges, he was like, come on, give it to me. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm gonna face this, and I'm not gonna give up. And and he spoke about all of that in all of his songs, and it's just a beautiful reminder to all of us. Every time we hear his songs, you get his energy of like, hey, love for life, and it's a beautiful thing. It's such a wonderful thing to talk about. I mean, with all these drama around us, with all the negative issues, it is true, it's happening, but it's also nice to be reminded of the beautiful side of life. No matter how dark things seem to get, there's always that, hey, if we just switch our minds and think life is still beautiful, we can have peace on earth if we want to. So that's, I think, the whole energy that my dad represented, and I just love talking about it.
Yeah, I know you say he wasn't perfect. Well, that's your right to say that to your family. But to us, he was. He was a perfect friend.
Thank
He was a
you.
perfect icon, idol. And as I said in the show earlier, I never called him a rapper. I just didn't feel comfortable calling him that, even regardless of whether I was talking from a DJ standpoint or when I was with him,
Hello?
or all of these things. He was just a total, he was a total entertainer. He was a total person to me. Are we still with Max? Okay, let me check. If I think we lost Maxene Magalona-Mananquil is with us here. Are supposed to be. Okay, I think she froze. Let's give her a little bit of time to come back here. I think we lost. Yes, we lost.
Sorry,
her.
okay.
There you go. No.
Yay,
Okay.
sorry.
Let me. Why are you to the side?
Wait.
There you go. Yeah. So I was saying, back. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay
okay,
lang.
okay.
It's fine.
Sorry,
So free-
okay, yes.
The free for all
Oh, thank
show.
you.
Don't worry about it. So I was
Okay.
saying, I that's how I treat him. He was, as I said in my Instagram post, he did everything, and he did everything well. He did everything looking good too. Even at the times
Wow.
that he wasn't supposed to anymore. Remember when towards the end of the fight, he was still going on TV. He wanted to do this. He was such a fighter. He was such an inspiration. How do you, in small or big ways, still celebrate him? And what now that it has been 11 years, Max? Is it easier? Are you happier about it? When I say happier, I'm not trying to insult or anything.
Of
but just,
course.
right,
Yes.
the memory and his passing, of course, was painful. There's no question about it. The whole nation felt it. But 11 years after, what is the difference now of you going through that? Because you were of age already. And
Yes.
yeah, right? And now
Yes.
11 years after. What's the difference for you, in your opinion?
Yeah, I was 22 when he passed away, 21, 22, around
Right.
that age. And yeah, definitely it doesn't get easier, but it doesn't also get even more hard. It's like it's just always there, that feeling of missing him, because he was such a wonderful human being, that being around him was such a joy. Like nakakamiss, that's it, you just miss that energy. But at the same time, when you look back, it's like he lived a beautiful and full life. I
Full
mean,
life.
there's nothing exactly like, so it's just like now I'm just at the age, I'm at the stage in my life where I finally understand his lyrics. You know what I mean? Like at this age now.
That's
At
a
that
good
time,
point.
I was more about I'm losing. Yeah, at that time I was like I'm losing my dad. I was the daughter losing my dad. Now 11 years later, I'm like now because one of his most famous quotes was at the touch of a button, I'm still alive. You can still play my music. You can still hear my voice. So whenever I listen to his songs, it's like he's still here guiding me through his lyrics. And now I understand what he meant by kaleidoscope world, that we are all in this kaleidoscope world, every color, every hue. It's colorful, it's not perfect, but we all represent this beautiful world if we just do our part. And it's like now I finally understand. And it's like I feel like I just want to, especially during this sacred time, like I just want to keep celebrating life, because I think that's what he represented very well with his life. Like, don't give up, just keep fighting. And especially since he was given, that was part of his cards, getting the big C, getting the, that was part of his earthly karma, of his like
Right.
life plan. God's plan
Okay.
for him was, and I think there was a purpose for that, for him to show us, because you're right, he never wanted to stop. He just kept going, even if he was already sick. He kept recording, he kept shooting photos, he kept painting, he kept directing music videos. He never
Putting out
stopped.
merchandise and all of that
Yes,
stuff,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And it's not because he was like natatakot na mauubusan na ng time. He was just, what else can we do? What else can we? He was so creative, so he wanted to keep using that potent magic inside of him and keep creating, so that when he left, he knows that he did it all. He knows that he gave his best. And it's like now 11 years later, I can't just help but smile. I mean, I'm not, I still wish he was still around, like for those moments where we can, watch a movie, eat pizza together. But that's just me being the selfish, like human being side of it, because you have to understand that he already did his part in the world, and it's time to move on from that. But at the same time, still remember, that's why I'm so glad that people like you still pay tribute to him,
Of
and like
course.
you still remember. And he's just, I think he deserves this. He deserves this because of all the hard work that he did. And I just want to keep reminding people of that energy that he had. Like, don't give up, just especially during this time. It's just a beautiful message to share.
The times that I was with it, there was never a dull moment with your dad. There just wasn't, regardless if it was, if I saw him in the afternoon or evening, or as I said earlier in the show, at 4 a.m. when we were still talking about shoes, music, sports, or life in general. I was telling your sister earlier that I got one of the best career or life advice from your pops. So that's why it's such a big deal. Yeah, it's such a big deal to me. And I love what you just said. And obviously, I love the energy of what you were saying about that was part of his karma. That was part of his plan. That was part of God's plan. It was in the cards for him. That's what you're saying now. Obviously, you're more mature. You understand the world better. When it happened, what were you questioning, and how did you feel back then? I mean, I don't want you to. I'm sorry if I asked that in the sense that
No, it's okay.
Okay,
No,
okay.
no,
But you
no,
know what
it's
I'm
okay.
trying to. I'm trying to see the
Yes.
difference of your perspective now
Yes.
as opposed to
Yes.
11 years ago.
Well, at that time, I'm getting goosebumps as I remember this, because I will never forget the call that he made when he told me that he had the big C. When he told it to me, it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. But he said it in such a way like, Scene. He calls me Scene, Maxene.
Right.
Scene. Ayun na nga, I have leukemia. And so my world just started like crashing down over the phone. I was like, what? And then he said, no, but we can do this. Okay. Don't worry. We can fight this. We can. So I was like, I feel that moment was given to me also by God, like to understand that life that happens this way. Because at that time, you never think the big C could ever happen to anyone you know.
And especially him, he seemed so indestructible, Max.
Yes.
He had this aura that the guy could do everything,
Yes.
and he was indestructible. So that's why,
yes.
right? That's why I think it
Yes.
hurt us. Well, you guys more,
yes.
but even us, because
Yes, of
he
course.
obviously felt the whole
Yes.
nation felt that. So yeah, you were
Yes.
saying that
Yeah, so
was
it was very traumatic, but at the same time, it was something the family had to go through together, and I really feel that at that time the family, we all got shocked. We all got really, really
Well, I'm
shocked, and we
sure.
didn't know how to handle it. But then we did the best that we could. I was visiting him in the hospital. I still wish I could have knowing what I didn't know what was gonna happen. But then I think it was a very difficult time, but it was a time for all of us to really um start questioning what really it was the beginning of questioning what really mattered in life, because coming from a
I hear you.
celebrity family,
I hear you,
family, and it's like then that happens, it's like now how do you mix the celebrity factor, the work with this, like how do you, so it's like maybe God also wanted our family to be that, to show, to be an example of that, of like how to handle that, and then years later, like what happens, or like, you know what I mean, like there's
I
also
do.
it's also part of our cards, it's also part of our plan also. So
Right.
it was very traumatic, but then at the same time, something that it had to happen. I feel like it was something that that God planned for all of us already. Everything just happens for a reason, and yeah.
He was also, other than the things that you have mentioned and the things that we know about him, we read about it and all that, and for those who might have forgotten, or maybe too young to know, because syempre, we also assume that there are young ones who probably don't know. But like I said, he was an icon. He was ahead of his time. And when I say ahead of his time, not only in terms of the things that he did, but how he did it. It's not just what he did; it's how he did it. It was, and he made it look so good. He did it like people just embraced everything he did. There are some times, kasi Max, especially this in this business of yours or business of ours, that when you're successful in this and you're successful in that, once you do something like this, people start frowning. They're because you should have stuck to this, or you sold out, but those things were never said about your dad. Parang it was like, okay, he's doing this now. Wow, he's so good at this too. Oh, photography. Okay, wow, directing. Wow, he's that's, I think, one of the things that I really admired about him. But also, he was a patriot. Your dad was a patriot, right?
Yes.
So, having said that, Max, with the situation now, as you said, with all the toxicity and all that's happening to us here, what do you think your dad would be saying now if, let's say, he had social media?
Yeah.
Because he was a nationalistic guy, he was a patriot. What do you think would he be thinking, saying in his head, or to people out there? Or maybe music. What kind of music do you think will he be, in terms of message? What do you think would he be saying? I think I lost. Yeah.
It would be time when you just hello. Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I think so. Yeah. Okay. Let's try that again.
You hear me? Hello.
I'm losing Maxene Magalona-Mananquil. That's who we're talking to right now here in Chatroom.
I think this.
Yeah. I think.
Hello. Sorry, it's kind of choppy.
Oh, there. I think you're back.
There. Are we okay?
Yeah, game.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think this would be the time when my dad would use his voice, would use his social media to just keep uplifting people. I think he would using his genuine and authentic voice. Like he was the reason why I believe he was always courageous to try new things and not afraid of what people would say about him, is because he always connected to that truth inside of him, that no matter what people around him kept saying, wag yan, or don't do this, don't do that, or whatever, he was fearless. He was fierce. he was like, no, I want to try, because he practically I think he tried doing the rap thing way before anyone else was doing it in
That's
the
what I'm
Philippines.
saying. That's what I said earlier.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Nauna talaga eh.
I
Yeah.
think because he tried, parang he risked he did a risky thing, but then it worked out. So unti-unti siyang nagkakaroon lang like moments of genius, like, hey, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that, and he never let that spark inside of him go. So I think even with his social media, because before he passed away, he was blogging on Multiply.
Correct.
So I
That's right.
think
You're
up
right.
to now he would still be very active on Instagram, on Facebook. He would be like sharing memes. He would be joking. He would be, also posting serious stuff, using his authentic voice. Maybe he would do live stream rapping freestyle, because when he
Right,
would,
you're right. Or mixing,
yes,
he would be
yes,
scratching and all of that.
yes,
The
he
stuff
would
that
be
he
like,
used to do back in the DMZ days.
exactly. Or he would be like, hey guys, I'm going to do a live Instagram. Do you want to see my toy collection? Like something like that,
Right.
like something random,
Right,
something.
right.
He would really share who he was. As I think he would share like just him, who he was. He would share that, and because he knows how to handle life's challenges, and he knows how to make people feel good when he knows how to. I think he would tap into that and use his social media to be that beacon of light, of hope, in whatever form or way, like jokes, memes, serious stuff,
Yes, jokes.
freestyle
Yeah.
rapping. He would do it all. He would do it all. Seriously, yeah.
He would do it all. He would do it all in style. And he was ahead of the game,
Yes.
not only with what he did, but how he did it, even when it comes to his sound, how he infused this with this. In the next album, he'll do this. And I would hear that stuff from American artists 10 years after. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
tapos yan, ni Francis.
Yes, yes.
It's just incredible. And that's why, he is who he is. We're talking about Francis M. For those of you, he just celebrated his birthday, October 4. Of course, he would have been 56. Am I correct, Max?
56,
right?
yes.
Right.
Yes.
This week. And we're talking to Maxene Magalona-Mananquil. A final few minutes here on the chat room. What is something we don't know about him that you can talk about? Or maybe something personal between the two of you that people don't know, that, he had this side or that side, or he was into this and people didn't know that because he didn't want to share it. That you can share, of course. I don't want to touch anything too personal. Yeah.
Yes,
what do you think?
Papa was what do they not know? He was just really our best friend. Sa kaming magkakapatid, he would always, he kind of struggled with the parent, like how to be a parent, like a responsible, and so he did it in such a way that he knew best, like being a friend to us, and
Being a
he
buddy.
really was.
Being a buddy.
Yes,
You're right.
But not in like a childish way. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
yes,
not at all. I
yes.
use buddy in a very positive
Yes.
way. Yeah.
No,
Right.
so he wasn't like telling us, he wasn't like being like a friend na parang like ka-age namin. He knew there was still that line of like, I'm a dad, but at the same time I can be, so that we don't get scared to approach him whenever we
Talk
need to.
him.
Yes,
Right.
so he was really our best friend. And what can I share? Wow, he was very, very funny. Very, very, very funny.
Super, yeah.
Like he would make jokes like oh wow, I can't. Okay, there was this one thing that he used to do at the dinner table. It's called the scientist. And then every time, because he loved having dinner with all of us around, like that was one of his rules. Like we all have to have dinner together. So all 8
Awesome.
kids with yes, so magkakasama dapat kami. So he did this bit where, because it's hard to get everyone.
I heard about this, by the way. Yes.
Okay. So,
yes. Go ahead. I want you to tell the story again.
So it's like, he would ask, so in order, because it's so chaotic at home, he would have us, he would do this bit where he would act like a scientist. I don't know if he would put on a pair of glasses. I don't even remember, but he would be like, okay, ask me anything. And then he would ask like, why is the sky blue? Oh, because God ran out of paint and so he chose this color. And he would think of like these crazy corny answers, but then at the same time, it just made us all laugh. And then also one more thing.
Bentang-benta sa inyo, in other words.
Bentang-benta talaga. And then one more thing, he loved playing board games with us, and he got so competitive. He's very competitive.
He is,
yes.
huh?
So he loves to play board games with us, and boys, four girls in the family. So just 4 boys and 4 kids. Four boys and 4 girls, the kids. Yes. So it was just really like, my dad was like, he really just wanted everyone to have fun. Or he would make us watch documentaries. He
really
would insist on watching these documentaries like Walking the Mammoth or Living with Dinosaurs, like mga Nat Geo. He would ask us to all come together to watch the documentary. And then 5 minutes into the documentary, he's snoring.
Swear. Kasi napanood ko na yan, kayo na lang. Napanood ko na yan kayo na lang. Baka ganun yun. Well, I did get to see his competitive side during basketball, so I guess that part. I want to ask one last question about what's his best advice to you, but I want to tell you what I said earlier in the show, just so you know. You're aware of what he told me.
Okay, I would love to hear. Yes.
Before you talk about yours, and for the listeners who are hearing this again, I apologize, but I'm telling it because Max is here with us right now. So it was around, just to try to go through the story real quickly, it was around 4 a.m. We were all I think we were done after a Nike event, and we were all just celebrating, drinking, whatever. And at 4 a.m., we were outside of Metro Walk of all places, as I was saying earlier, if you remember that time, right? When people used to go to Metro Walk for whatever, eating and drinking. And I was telling him, because I was into a lot of things and I wanted to do a lot of things, whether it was radio, hosting, sports, business, and he was a master at it, right? At least he seemed like he figured it all out. That's how we perceived it. So I asked him, how would it look if I start doing this and I start doing that? If I get into this while I'm doing this. And he, cursed and said, don't give a flying whatever about how it's going to look. Just do it. And, if you're passionate about it, if your heart's in the right place, and I mean, I say it, and I'll say it, he said it in Tagalog, kung trip mo, gawin mo. Huwag mo nang pakialaman yung iba. And that's how I perceived him. And as I said, it was almost the same advice that my late father gave me. So that's why nagtugma talaga eh. It really stayed with me because they gave me the same advice. They both passed away and they gave me the same advice. So that was my story while we were holding bottles of beer at 4 a.m. What is yours? I mean, what best piece of advice did he give you as a friend, as a buddy, as a father, or just whatever? Oh, I'm sorry. Am I making you?
Thank you so much. That's okay. I'm just so grateful that you shared that with me, because I really felt like my dad was talking to me through you just now.
Oh my God, how eerie! How eerie! Because your sister said the same thing. If I may just say that. Go ahead. Yeah, they both said the same thing.
It's just I really feel like because that's one of the things that hold.
No, I don't want to lose you now. Okay, wait. I want. Wait, Max. Let me make sure that you're. Hang on.
What?
Before you finish what you're saying.
That's the biggest.
Wait, Max. Sorry. I think I lost you for a while. I don't want to waste that piece of advice that you were giving us here. Yeah, and I think you're back now. Let me try. Let me see. We're frozen. Maxene Magalona is with us. Maxene Magalona-Mananquil, of course. Okay, no, not this part, please. Help us. Wait a minute. Yeah, you're breaking up. We don't. Okay, hang on. Yes, there you go. A little zen. Let's try to get this Wi-Fi thing going from Bali. Okay. Let's see. Well, I wanted to end with that because that would be the perfect way to end. I think so. I think we can hear you. Wait, hang on. No, you're still frozen. Oh, no. Okay. Now I think you're back. Okay, let's finish this. Let's talk about your advice. Yes.
Hello.
And I'm sorry for making you emotional. Go ahead.
Hello.
Oh no.
Okay, Australia, that's one of the biggest things that holds us back. You know, that fear. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Okay.
Papa might be playing with the...
Maybe. So,
He might be messing with the connection.
so he was saying, yeah, I
Hello?
think I can
Hello?
hear you now. I think I can hear you now. Yeah. So he was saying
Okay.
that fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's one of the biggest things that holds us back. You know, that fear of what people will think, that fear of
Mm,
you know, that's really one of the biggest things. And I really believe he lived his life fearlessly without that fear. I'm sure it still got to him somehow, but he chose to like squash it every
overcome.
time he gets
Mm,
scared. Yes, overcome it. But me personally, the best advice that he gave me was one of the I'm sure this is a quote that a lot of people have seen online now, but he
okay.
said this to me before and a
Mm,
long time ago. He said, "Scene. People will never forget how you made them feel." So he
mm.
said that to me.
Right.
Like
Right. Right.
he said those words to me, and that really stuck with me because you know, that's how he made us feel.
Mm,
You know, it wasn't it wasn't what he did or what he said, how he said it. It was how he lived his life,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
how he made everyone around him
Yeah.
feel like they are all one, like we are all one. And he embodied that. He embodied his lyrics. He was the living, breathing example of kaleidoscope world. You know
Right. You're right. You're
what
right.
I mean?
Yes, I know
So
what you mean
and
perfectly. Yeah. And
yes,
I
yes.
don't think there's any other way we can end the show in any more perfect way. I think that was the best way to put it. I mean, I know exactly what you're saying. That his effect on everybody is what's important. I guess that he was telling you that how you make other people feel is what's the most important thing. And I thank you for your time, Max. I thank you for your energy and your enthusiasm to do this, regardless of our
Yes.
connection, regardless of our distance. Happy birthday to your pops. We love him. We miss him, and I hope you continue to stay happy there in Bali and
Thank
find yourself,
you.
discover yourself. And when you come back here to Manila, we'll hope in better
Thank
times.
you.
Hopefully, you'll be good and well, and do what you got to do.
Yes.
Do what you got to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Boom.
No, no, thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yes, and on
Magic
a person.
89.9.
Oh, you're welcome. And on a
And
person. Sure, go ahead. Sorry.
Papa is very, very happy for sure. He's very happy with this. Thank you.
And I'm glad we
So
made him
thank
happy.
you.
On a personal note, please send my regards to Sari. Congratulations. And my love to Chrissy, also
Yes.
our common friends, of course. You guys take care. I'll see you guys soon. Right?
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank
In regards to
you.
the
Thank
husband,
you.
of course. Bye, Max. All right, there you go. Maxene Magalona-Mananquil. Boy, we survived that. Eventually, we made it through. We'd like to thank her. We'd like to thank Saab Magalona-Bacarro for joining us in what turned out to be not only a great way to celebrate the life and legacy of Francis M, but an emotional trip down memory lane. All right, tomorrow's Friday Madness, right? So we're going to play more Francis M tomorrow. My name is Boom. Thanks for hanging out in the chat room. I'll see you next week. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, actually. For Friday Madness, exclusively here. Magic 89.9. Bye, everybody.